Okay, okay. Hello. Yeah. So, what is the agenda of today's class? That we'll be analyzing 2024, 2023, and 2022 papers, and we'll try to identify what is the weightage that is given to different branches in the syllabus that is mentioned. So, which units are carrying maximum weightage, where your hard work should actually go. And we'll also try to understand whether the questions are very directly are they coming from what you have read, or is it more analytical so that you have an extra understanding about the syllabus. Should you just stick to the basic books that is available in the market, or should you go beyond, and whether those things has to be taught in the class or not, you should look at. Okay, so first we'll take 2024 paper and we'll try to analyze the socio-cultural anthropology. Okay. So first question is attributes of culture. It belongs to unit 2. So see, from unit 2 you have attributes of culture. You have 10 marks. Then joking relationship, critical perspective on avoidance and joking relationship, which is part of kinship. It is also from unit 2, 2.5. Then coming to second question, see, lethal and sublethal, it is unit 9. So we are looking for socio-cultural anthropology first. Okay, so attributes of culture can be directly answered. A basic question. Critical perspective on avoidance and joking relationship. See, what happens is that in many of the books they'll give what is joking relationship, but the critical perspective is missing. So you should understand that for every topic that you're doing, you should always have the critical perspective. So that is where UPSC is trying to tweak a little. Okay, so previously what it used to ask, it used to ask what are the different types of joking relationship, or give different dimensions of it. But now if it is trying to make difficult, okay, if UPSC is trying to make the paper difficult, it will just add critically analyze or critical perspective, that be it in GS or anthropology. Okay, so that means for everything that you are reading, you should know the critical perspective, right? Next, remaining things belong to physical anthropology. Then second question, historical particularism. So this is a straightforward question. Yeah. Okay. Next is archaeology. Then you have lifestyle diseases, again that is physical anthropology. So from here you can understand in the second question. So anybody who is watching online, I would request to have the hard copy or soft copy of 2024 paper 1 with you. Just follow accordingly. So here in the question you can observe that it is a combination of archaeology, social anthropology and physical anthropology. People think that can we skip physical anthropology or can we skip socio-cultural anthropology? That's not possible, because UPSC is also playing the game well, right? So it is trying to put all the branches in one question itself. So if you skip any of the branch also, then again you lose. Then you have karyotype, define urbanization and its impact on family in India with examples. So this is again from unit 2, 2.4, family. So okay, and next is unit 8, contemporary challenges in fieldwork method, anthropological research. See, you need to understand one thing, that this is not generally learned as part of classroom. So here you can understand critical perspective. So I'll tell you where UPSC answers cannot be solved directly from what you are reading from the basic books or the material, which are going out of syllabus, that will not do. See, first is we have seen critical perspective, that also you won't be reading. So 10 markers is out of it, and then this you can write, and this contemporary challenges question, unless and until you are aware and updated with the latest information, you do not. Next, coming to fourth question, critically discuss the psychological types and psychological types in the cultures of American Southwest observed by Ruth Bendick. So this is bit straightforward question, but again critically discuss. Okay, so you can see here, but here you won't be able to address it directly if you do not analyze it properly. What you will read? You will read the psychological types in the cultures as described by Ruth Bendick. Yeah, please. Yeah, see, critically discuss means you should look at all the things that is present there. You should talk about it. You should talk what is there, and within that, see, you'll explain. Okay, these are the psychological types. So within these psychological types, you have so and so positives and so negatives within the topic, within the methodology, within the findings. So critically discuss means you are trying to be very objective in the analysis. That means you are saying this is the topic that is explained. Within this topic, there are certain positive things, some positive findings, and good applications that has been learned. But on the other side, you can see the flaws in the methodology, you can see the flaws in the findings. Okay, so you can give the examples of others who critique. They'll study Ruth Bendick psychological types and they critique the study of Ruth Bendick. So these things you have to mention. So this we have done in the class. See, I don't want to claim that everything I have done in the class, but I am telling you, you can go and check that I have given the class notes which has been taught in the class. That class notes have made a PDF and I have placed in the Telegram. So you can see that when I was teaching in the class, many of the people were thinking that we were discussing it unnecessarily. But only when you get in the exam, you will understand that this is necessary. Right? So next, this Ruth Bendick question, it's from Unit 6. And then it is archaeology, genetic counseling is physical anthropology. Chronometric dating is archaeology, cultural relevance of Kula. Okay, again this is also discussed, but it's not there in the basic book that you read. You have to frame the answer and write. Then when you frame the answer then and there and write, what happens? You will miss out on the scholars, right? So you don't know the multiple dimensions that are there. Unit 3. It can be placed under Unit 3 or Unit 6, Malinowski. But it's with respect to more of what do you call economic anthropology. There it's mentioned in the syllabus. Coloring is mentioned in the syllabus. So there we'll be reading under Unit 3. Then heritability and its estimation. So authority and forms of political organization. This is Unit 4. So single gene mutation orders, this is again Unit 9. Homo erectus 1.6, physical anthropology, forensics, and how Levi-Strauss look at Simian myth of Asdrubal. So see, here again the question falls out of the league. But while you are studying, if you understand what exactly Levi-Strauss is saying and how the structural analysis is done, I emphasized multiple number of times in the class, but since it is bit complex, though it was very much simplified, they understand there, but they think it's useless. Today you see that the question has been placed there, critically discuss Levi-Strauss theory of structuralism in the light of his study of mythologies. So you have to discuss it and how did he look at it. So this part you will be able to explain only when you try to understand the detailed explanation of the structuralism. What exactly he is trying to look at? How did he analyze the myth? So when you know that he has analyzed the myth in so and so manner, then you will be able to apply the same analysis to all the myths. Though you don't know what is the myth, even if you explain this is the way he has looked at it, that is the answer. The answer remains the same. So 80% of the content comes from there. So see, he has done multiple myths, study of multiple myths. You cannot study all the myths. What maximum UPSC aspirants study is Oedipus myth, right? So you cannot study all the myths, but you should know the backdrop of his analysis, how he has analyzed it, what method he has used. So that if you are clear, you will be able to write. That's what you should sign. You should first explain what he has said, then you should find the faults with it. What are the flaws that are there with this explanation? Are they applicable in all the times? Okay. Not just negative. Critically means you should show the both the sides. So anyhow you are writing, he has explained this. This has helped in understanding the social structure. These all things we will be learning, because he says that whatever you look at, it is present in the mind of the people, and these minds consist of social structure, and you cannot study the mind directly. What is there in the mind you cannot study directly. So in order to study what is there in the mind, the social structure that is there in the mind, you have to study the products of the mind. What are the products of the mind? The language, myth, all the things that you are used, that are the products of the mind. So he will study the products of the mind, and through that he will try to understand what is there in the minds of the people. Okay, so that is his approach, that we will be studying in a greater detail, but try to understand this answer. Even after the class, you won't be able to answer it completely, only 70% you will be able to answer from what is given in the class. So that means in one question, 30% is completely out. Okay, so this is another 15 marks question which people might miss out. Next, critically explain the notion of deconstruction in the light of postmodern works of Jacques Derrida. This is again under anthropological thought. When I start with anthropological theories, people don't like it. In the anthropological thought, when I start with anthropological theories in foundation, I'm sorry, people don't like it because they think that marriage is more interesting, society, culture is more interesting. Just you can see there what's happening in the examination. Right. So that's there. And next, what is multifactorial rate? It's unit 9. Then discuss the sampling techniques in the selecting the study group. Okay. Again, here it is 15 marks. Then critically examine the concept of social stratification as a basis of sustaining social inequality. Is unit 8. Sampling technique, it's a research method. Okay. So then you see social stratification, social inequality, it falls under unit 2.2 society, and again hits 20 marker. Then ABO inheritance, that's physical anthropology, and again biological, and you can see the critically discuss the synergistic effect of biological and cultural factors in human evolution. Done. So we have done with socio-cultural part. So then we'll move to physical anthropology. So you have unit 1.7, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, 9.4, 9.5, 9.6, 9.7, 9.8, 10, 11 and unit 12. So these are the units. So now you look at paper 1. Lethal and sublethal genes belong to which topic? You have the syllabus, right? Yesterday we have analyzed the syllabus. 9.2, right? And next, critically comment on lifestyle diseases and their impact on human health. That is 9.8. Epidemiological anthropology. Yeah. Again, 1E, hemoglobin in health and diseases, it's 9.6. And then what is meant by karyotype and how does its analysis help in the diagnosis of chromosomal aberrations in man? So this is 9.1 methods, right? In the methods we have studied that cytogenetic method and karyotyping, right? So here 20 marker is under 9.1. And then genetic counseling, it falls under syllabus. Genetic counseling in which part of the syllabus? Genetic counseling is not part of 9.6. 9.3, right? Heritability and its estimation again under 9.1. So because you learn it under twin studies. In twin studies and in there you will be learning the heritability and estimation. One twin methods, search. Family methods. Then you have single gene mutation disorders in man. Single gene mutation disorders comes under mutation only, right? So single gene mutations you can observe. Yeah, gene mutation it comes under 9.3. You will be learning different methods, mutation types, forces influencing genetic changes. So this can fall under any 9.1 to 9.3. You can study anywhere. Since it's talking about disorders, so generally you will study under 9.4. But again, when you study mutation, you should know them. Pedigree analysis. Pedigree analysis is nothing but there you will be studying Mendelian laws of inheritance. In that, you will be studying autosomal, X-linked, Y-linked. Okay, so recessive, dominant, all these types you will be learning with respect to single gene disorder. So that can be under 9.1. So we'll keep it under 9.1 only because indirectly they have asked, instead of asking pedigree analysis and its applications, they have asked this. Then Homo erectus, it's 1.6. These are all straightforward questions. You don't see any difficulty in this. Forensic anthropologies, unit 12. See, in physical anthropology, they did not tweak anything. Almost all of them are straightforward. Only lifestyle diseases. Okay. So if you see, critically comment on lifestyle diseases and their impact on human health. So that one topic, I think 15 marks. In 2024 is something out of scope. And then again, multifactorial trait, single factor, multi-factor that we have seen right yesterday. It's part of which unit? 9.2. So it's 15 markers in 9.2. And then ABO blood group is 9.6. Right. So this is physical anthropology. 1.4. So next coming to archaeology. Archaeology we can classify as single thing overall. So okay. So here first like in 2024 you notice Harappan maritime trade. So 10 marker. And then Mehergar significance. Evidences of food production and domestication of animals with specific reference to Mehergar. Okay, so that also fall under it. So you can notice that these topics need knowledge beyond your books. Harappan maritime trade, you might be learning 1 or 2 lines about it, but you never know the information that is sufficient to answer 10 marker. Or with respect to Mehergar also, you may know 1 or 2 evidence, but 15 markers, how many evidences can you quote? So you should know that very few answers in archaeology you will be able to deal it directly. So any amount of energy you put in archaeology, any amount of energy, still it gets difficult to deal with archaeology because you don't know what they are going to ask. It's all about facts. But there are some journals which will publish articles on archaeology. So there you should observe that what is a possible trend. Okay, so these are the journals that are published. These are the latest findings. From these topics might have a chance. Still, that's only a chance. You cannot be sure. So 4 or 5 topics you can prepare extra, assuming that they might ask, but still we cannot guarantee that. So your probability will be very less in archaeology. Correct? So next, 1B and 2B. See, Indian archaeology. This is Indian archaeology. That's what I am trying to say. That there is no paper 1 and paper 2. There is only archaeology. Obviously. So that I always tell in the class. That is the reason I teach archaeology both Indian and world together. Even be it previous year or this year, since the time I have started teaching, I don't see archaeology separate, right? Because they can ask anything. It's only a particular period. During that period, what has happened? You should know it. And what are the sites? What are the findings that you should be studying? But always see these kind of questions will be there because to balance the paper. See, how will PSR people compete with anthropology people then, or other optionals compete with it? So there should be some questions which are difficult and which you cannot answer directly by reading. So either you should have read so many books, too much of knowledge, but still your memory power should also support for that even after reading to address such questions. So these are balancing questions. It makes optional leveling field for all the people by these questions. Then you have Acheulean and Old One traditions of Indian paleology. See, you can understand. People prepare world and in the morning they go and sit for the exam and they'll see all the Indian questions and now they'll be recalling only the world examples and world sites. See, that is the reason why you should analyze the paper in detail. Now, if the syllabus has started, if I have started teaching you directly without doing all these things, your way of looking at the subject will be very different. Then chronometric dating is direct question. See, these are some things which you don't know clearly. So for your identification. That's it from archaeology. Not even that's what 4B 50. Acheulean and Old One traditions. Okay. So out of 400 marks paper, you can see not even one single 20 marker from archaeology. And what people do? They'll think that this is how UPSC will ask questions and they'll try to follow this trend. Okay. And then UPSC will have a surprise for you always. They'll keep it ready. That they know, okay, this is how the people come, and they will be keeping the surprise ready for you. Next year, they'll completely change the trend. So that's what I think I've written it. So when Harappan maritime trade to be 4B. So that's what I've already written the 15 marker. Yeah. And then you have chronometric dating. That's it. As far as I remember, that was 50 marks. So that's why I was okay. It's okay. So now you can understand. This is the weightage. So 50 marks from archaeology, out of which 25 marks is difficult. So you should understand what is the difficulty level of the paper. And here, if you notice, 60, 70, 100, 105. Yeah, 15 markers is difficult. But total, just calculate. $170 marks, right? Total 170. Out of that, only 10 marks were, sorry, only 15 marks were difficult. 15 out of 170. And here again you notice 180. Right? So overall, this is 180. 90, 100, 130, 170, right? That's what 180, 170 is 350, and again 50, it's 400. Yeah. Anyways, so you can see 15 plus 70, 85 and 25. So 105 marks out of 400 needs your analysis beyond paper, beyond your basic books. So this you need to understand, or else it's very difficult to get the scores what you are assuming. When a person chooses optional, they think that they'll be able to score 280 plus or 300 plus, but that needs many extra efforts. And people tend to give you some shortcuts, or they tend to give you some structures, but that doesn't really work in the exam hall. All you need is your conceptual clarity, detailed understanding, anthropological perspective. Automatically the structure will be framed within the answer, within the exam hall, based on your understanding. So no question will be straightforward. You have to develop then and then. That is the ability that you have to develop over this 1 year period of time. So don't take things lightly when something is being taught. See, I'll tell you here, other than one myth part, other than the myth that we have discussed, rest all things could have been addressed in socio-cultural anthropology from the class itself. See, you have been given class notes and you have been provided with some advanced notes. People, many of the times what happens, people don't come after prelims. They think that everything is done for them, because all the things cannot be completed at one go. Last year for 20 markers, postmodernism question, I taught it post prelims. Yeah, but who didn't attend the class, they're at loss, right? I inform them, but it's all their choice. Definitely, the extra analysis, extra edge is needed. So that is being done in the class. Mostly, one or two things we may not, because 100% targeting of the question may not be possible. But many of the cases will try to deal the topic holistically. See, when all these things will become easy when you deal the topic holistically. Don't see what is just given in the syllabus. What, for that topic, whatever that is there, try to know holistically. See all the dimensions. Try to see what is given and what is talked by anthropologists. So then in that case, when you know everything about that, the question may come, may not come, we are not bothered. But we know everything, so you'll go with the confidence. Right? So this is with respect to 2024. Now next year the trend is going to change. Now there was only 50 marks from archaeology. Next year you will see 100 plus marks. Archaeology. I'm telling you that that's how they change. So now we'll analyze 23 paper. Then you will understand how much difference you have between 24 and 20. How to? That's what you'll write some random stuff and come for that. Handling bouncers is that you'll try to write what you know, the basic part of it, and what is the basic understanding, whatever you know, you'll try to manage by interlinking. But if it's a factual question, you cannot deal bouncers, you should leave it. If you try to deal it, it will be a negative thing. So what they'll understand is that you are trying to fool the examiner. Because factual thing, it needs the data. And here one more thing we should add here is 1.123. Okay, social culture. So it's very broad, you can keep anywhere there. So next, coming to 2023 paper, scope and relevance of social and cultural anthropology. This is straightforward question from 1.2, right? Sorry, this is under 23. Okay, then cultural impact of Iron Age, it comes under archaeology. We'll go one by one and then we'll complete. Okay, then race and ethnicity is 9.5. Customary laws and environmental conservation. Okay, this is something where you have to interlink both. Customary laws falls under unit 4, but here you can assume that interlinking with environmental conservation, sometimes it gets difficult. Okay, next you have gene expression. Gene expression is part of 1.7. Straightforward. Then you have Australopithecus. Paleolithic environment, India. Right? You can look at the topics in paper 1, they are asking paper 2. Right. Then malnutrition, different forms of malnutrition, describe protein calorie malnutrition with examples. So this is again 9.8. Next question, what is hominization process? Major trends in human evolution with the suitable examples and illustrations. So here again it falls under 1.6. Clifford Geertz, look at religion, differentiate between anthropological and psychological approaches to study religion. Okay, this falls under unit 5, but it has some interlink with the unit 6 also. This you can write. Hominization process is little bit hominization process most of the people are not aware, so you can assume this part to be little bit difficult in 2024. And then mixed longitudinal method of studying human growth, discuss its merits and demerits. 10th unit. Direct question. Discuss the role of marriage regulation in traditional societies in India for strengthening social solidarity. So here again it's analytical. Unit 10. Yeah, it's straightforward question. Next you have discussed various methods of personal identification based on skeletal remains. Again it's unit 12 and it's straightforward. Yeah. Next, identify the major Mesolithic sites and describe typotechnological features with special reference to India. So again it's archaeology. Polygenic inheritance, it is 9.3, right? Polygenic inheritance, yesterday we have seen it. Single factor, multi-factor and polygenic inheritance. And then prehistoric significance of Rakhigarhi, archaeology, and this is very much expected because it was in news. Glottochronology. Glottochronology is something which is not by students in the class, but again, if somebody is having some basic knowledge, because when explaining the historical linguistics, there we try to give you many examples. So once you know what is glottochronology, little intelligence here would help, because if you look at the etymology, glottis deals with the tongue, right? So when you understand it is talking about the chronology of that. So if you look at in Hindi, Bhasha Kalkrami Kalkram Vignan, Bhasha Kalkram Vignan. So that it is talking about language. Chronology you understood. So language chronology, then using that you can address to some extent using those examples, but to address it fully it's a bit difficult. Okay, so we'll assume that that falls under unit 7. Sorry, next, menopausal symptoms, it is physical anthropology, unit 11. William Ogburn and cultural lag. Again, see this, even when my preparation was going on, I was learning this concept, but people don't take it seriously. That's what I say. Learn the subject holistically. When I was teaching social media in 5th unit of paper 2, there I was using this concept to explain the gap between the growth of different parts of culture. So, in culture, all the traits do not develop at the same speed or change at the same speed. There would be gap. So, if you see, technology is growing at rapid speed, but our traditional values are still intact. So, traditional values are not changing that fast. That is the reason there is gap between this, and it is leading to many problems. Okay. So again, I feel this is a straightforward question and it falls under 2.1. Controversies related to Malinowski and Mead. It is unit 6. Okay. So here also, I think people should be aware about it. Whenever you read, you should critically analyze all the theories. So if you analyze all the theories critically, automatically you will be able to write the answers. Then unit 3 is straightforward question. Impact of globalization on indigenous economic systems. Practical applications of DNA technology in current scenario. In 9.1 we have this DNA and rDNA, its applications, right? DNA technology. So that's under 9.1. Describe various methods of qualitative data analysis. Highlight some popular computer softwares used in qualitative analysis. See, this is very much updated question. Unless and until you are aware about the current updates that is there with respect to the syllabus, you won't be able to answer it. So again, in unit 8. Yeah, unit 8. Then again, next you have what assumptions must be met. This is straightforward. Genetic equilibrium and importance of genetic equilibrium. So Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium that you study in 9.2, I guess. 9.2 or 3? 3? 9.3, yeah. Political and methodological aspects of national character studies elucidate contemporary relevance of such studies. See, again, here also to some extent people have an idea, but this is having mostly influence of political anthropology. Sorry, PSR, political science. So political science people know this well, but in anthropology people don't study to this depth. But sometimes you can notice these kind of questions are asked. Okay, this is again in unit 6. After this, you have critically examine Arjun Appadurai's conceptualization of global cultural economy. Yeah, again, this question is considered as difficult. Actually, it's not mentioned in the syllabus, but it is there. Okay, so here, but students should know about Arjun Appadurai. So actually there is a book called as Inside Out of Anthropology, where the detailed discussion of each individual anthropologist is present. So last year, while asking a question in the test series, I have given globalization, fishing and impact of globalization. This was the question. So there, while discussing that question, so I have explained the Arjun Appadurai scapes. Okay, the various scapes he talks about the globalization. So that part you have to talk and give some examples. So beyond that, they don't expect much from your end. This falls under unit 3. Again, one more thing, when you read globalization topic, there are theories of globalization, and one of the theory is given by Arjun Appadurai, and it's important. So there you need to study the theories of globalization, which is important. Discuss the causes of structural abnormalities of chromosomes with suitable examples. So it's very straightforward. 9.4. Critically discuss A.L. Krober's contribution to kinship studies. Again, this is 2.5. Again, this is also little bit difficult because they don't study the critical part of it. So you can see number of marks from here. (180). You can see the change in difficulty levels from year to year. Last year, comparatively, paper 1 was easy. Previous year, paper 1 was difficult. And again, from my understanding, I believe 2025 is going to be the same thing as 2023. Paper 2 will be normal, but paper 1 is going to be a bit difficult. So, if you attend the classes properly, do what all is being said in the classes, and take the updated notes of value addition classes, then I don't think this would be an area of trouble for you people. Okay, so then we'll go to 2022. We'll see other topics also. Here you can see in 2023. 170 again. Is it 170? Yeah, it's 50 here. 50. And out of this, what were the difficult questions? Raki Gari is straightforward. Mesolithic sites is straightforward. Paleolithic environment, in the light of available evidences with special reference to India, this is little bit tricky. Cultural impact of Iron Age, did we do? Right. So that's okay. 15 markers. So 15, 25 marks out of 50, and in 2024, where it needs your analysis and more of research beyond your syllabus, and again in 2023 it's 15 markers. You can see the discuss the Paleolithic environment in the light of available evidences with special reference to India. So here what you have to say is how the environment is present at that point of time using the evidences that you have. So it gets very difficult. What you read is that you will directly read the findings. So you have to understand the findings and then connect it to the type of environment. So from you know the findings, you know the evidences, but to tell the environment what kind of environment is there, you might not have been prepared with respect to it. So then in the exam hall, it's difficult to write the answer. So basically what you can understand here is what's more easy is biological anthropology, right? So always be prepared with it, but you cannot compromise socio-cultural anthropology because you have seen all the three combinations are given in the answers in the exam questions. It's a combination of multiple branches in each question, so you cannot skip it, right? So moving to 2022 paper. Socio-cultural formalist substantivist debate. This is unit 3. Okay. Mesolithic rock art in Indian subcontinent. Archaeology. Radcliffe Brown's ideas on status, role, and institution. Status, role, and institution you learn as part of unit 2. Then you have pedigree analysis in genetic counseling, 9.1. Participatory rural appraisal and participatory learning and action. That is part of unit 8. Sorry. Next, anthropology is systematic, objective, and holistic study of humankind in all times and places. Elaborate the argument. It is part of 1.123. You can consider in that range. Then you have discussed different forms of primate social organization, which is part of 1.5. Then discuss with suitable examples the typotechnological problems in Indian Paleolithic industry with reference to environmental hypothesis. This falls under archaeology and it's a bit difficult thing which people cannot answer directly from the basic resources that they have studied. Discuss how the rules of descent contradict the principles of residence in matrilineal society, mentioning the suitable examples. See, actually, this question has been asked in a test series also, but if somebody is not prepared with this, generally they don't find the examples to discuss this. So it's again falls under difficult category. This falls under marriage, again unit 2, marriage and kinship. So evidence of animal domestication in Indian microlithic industry, this is under archaeology. Neanderthals 1.6, but again it is asking should we classify, discuss the controversy. So controversy, people might not know it directly. See, what everybody does is that they'll try to teach after the question appears in the exam. But what I believe is that you should be prepared as much as possible even before the question is asked. Don't try to prepare after the question is asked. Once you start doing that, you will only be learning in the next year. And the same thing won't be repeated. That's what UPSC does. It won't give the same thing in the next year. That's for sure. Maybe after 4 or 5 years it might repeat. We should analyze the PYQs. We should understand the PYQs. But we should not only read that, we should also read something extra which are possible. Okay. So then you have Heath and Carter method. Yeah. 1.6, 15 marks. Previously, 3B is archaeology, right? We have written. And then this is in 1.6. Yeah. I don't think so. Not much. Like it's okay. You can answer it. 10 marker if you have bit amount of knowledge, you will be able to answer. Here again 1.6 it comes under the difficult category classification. Then it's under 10th unit Heath and Carter method. Discuss historical and cultural context that led to superseding ethnocentrism with cultural relativism in anthropology. This is also straightforward 2.1. Critically examine various anthropological interpretations of the colouring. So this is also a bit difficult. They don't read the critical part. They read colouring, but they don't read the critical part. Now again, balanced Heath and Carter, 10th unit of physical anthropology. Balanced and transient polymorphism comes under which part? Genetic polymorphism. Genetic imprinting in human diseases. Again, it's under 9.3. Stages of human prenatal development, it's unit 10. Shaman, sorcerer and medicine man, it's Unit 5, not marriage, it's religion. Household and domestic group 2.4. Discuss the mechanism of social control in different kinds of political systems. It falls under unit 4. What is meant by health? Is the burden of lifestyle diseases on the rise? Justify your answer. It's under 9.8. Critically evaluate the reasons of reduction in age at menarche in human females over the successive generations. This is about secular trends. This is in unit 11. See, this falls under unit 10 only, secular trends. Okay, so this is not under unit 11 because it is asking about the it is not asking about menarche. Why the age across generations is reducing for menarche? Okay, so why is that reducing? So this is discussed as a part of secular trends in unit 10. So which is learned, but you don't analyze the critical reasons for it. So you should be aware that whenever you are reading something, there is a need for critical reasons. So this 15 marker is a bit difficult. So next 7, discuss the role of evolutionary forces in creating human diversity. So this is straightforward. Different you learn mutation, selection, isolation. Okay, so those things as part of 9.3, right? So those all combine to form race, new species, new population with different features that gives rise to diversity. So for that you need all these forces which you learn as part of 9.3. Then historical development of fieldwork tradition, it's unit 8. Discuss the approaches of Leslie White, Julian Stewart. This is under unit 6. Contemporary population problems in the light of various socio-cultural demographic theories. This is unit 11. What do you understand by blood group systems, HLA system? How is it different from red blood cells antigens, red cell antigens? So this is straightforward from 9.6. Unit 11, yeah. And discuss how anthropological knowledge of the human body may be used in designing equipments and articles of humans. Unit 12. Right. So now you see how many marks appeared in different. In archaeology, it's 40. Out of that, 15 is a bit difficult. Okay. So 15 to 25 marks is the range. Here, two ten. Right? Around 210 marks have appeared from this. So 45 out of 210. Yeah. Primate social organization. I think we have got only one. Instead of writing in 1.6, I might have written in 1.5. In 1.6, we got two questions. One is Neanderthal. This is only one. So it's 205. Sorry, 195. Here, if we calculate, then we'll understand. So, what is the total number of marks that are asked here? 185. 180. 15 4 is 60. 100, 110, 130, 140, 150, 170. What is the number? 170. 170 plus 40. 210. Should be 190 then. Here we have removed 115, right? Now let's check the physical anthropology part. We'll quickly do it. Formalist substantivist debate, Unit 3. Radcliffe Brown's social institutions, it's under Unit 2. And then PLA, it's under Unit 8. Anthropology systematic development, it is under 1.1 to 1.3. Then rules, that falls under Unit 2. Four B 2.1 4C under unit 3. Right? 5D under unit 5. 5 is under 2.4. 10 marker. Unit 4, 20 marker. 7C unit 6. 7B unit 8. Eight. Okay. So this is that. Is it correct? In physical anthropology. Pedigree analysis. 9.1 10 marker. 1.5 15 marker. 1.6 15 marker. Oh. Unit 10 20 marker. 9.3 10 10. 10th unit 10 marker. 9.8 20. Yeah, 9.8 it's 15 marker. Here so I think now it will match. 230 plus 170. It's 400. So here instead. So 45 out of 190 is difficult here. So every year around 180 on an average comes from biological anthropology. 170. So half of 170, 170 and 40 or 50 you can assume. So around 175 marks from sociocultural anthropology, 175 marks from physical anthropology and 45 marks from archaeological anthropology. But you can notice that physical anthropology or biological anthropology has been the most easiest area. So don't compromise on the biological part. Okay, and socio-cultural part you should analyze critically all the aspects of the syllabus. If you should be scoring well, then you should analyze all the aspects of the syllabus critically. Then archaeology, many of the things are out of your scope. I feel that energy that should be invested in archaeology is very less, and wherever there are important developments that are happening in the news, those aspects we should analyze a bit and be prepared, or else whatever the static questions that come, you deal it, and wherever you have an option, leave it. So you can leave it in the option if it is 15 or 20 marker, if you are prepared well with physical and socio-cultural, and then at the same time, if in 10 marker archaeological question comes, then you should have a basic idea. So where we will be understanding a framework, that framework will help you deal with those questions to get 1 or 2 marks, but don't expect much from that. Even after leaving 20-30 marks, still people score very good in anthropology. Shubham Kumar, rank 1, he says that he has left around 25 marks, around 20-25 marks, but still he got 320. Even last year, when I met Siddharth Ramkumar, rank 4, a very humble person, he openly said that in some of the questions he was not able to deal the answers well. but still wherever he has dealt, he has kept his language very simple and he tried to attempt all the answers in equal weightage. So what people do in some questions, they write too good, in some questions they compromise. So without doing that, he tried to address all the questions with equal weightage. Okay, so that's how you have to approach. So from this you might have got the clarity. You can see in sociocultural anthropology, what is the most important chapters, what are the most important chapters you can observe. So you need to understand that all the chapters are important, right? So you cannot give less importance to any unit because every next year they change the pattern and they change the importance of one or the other unit. Sixth unit remains always important. 2, 3, 4, 5, if you understand properly, there you need not see the weightage. You will be able to answer them very clear. So 8th unit is something which you should work a little. So this is with respect to paper 1. So we'll see the trend in physical anthropology. See, the number of marks asked are same almost every year from each branch. So when you come to paper 1, archaeology importance is reduced. If you see in paper 2 archaeology, you will have more number of questions. In physical anthropology, which are the important units? 9.3 is very important. You can see the consistency. 1.6 is very important. Every year, the questions you can notice in unit 12, 9.8, 9.6, 9.3, 9.1. So in 9th unit, 9.1 and 9.3 are very important. 9.6, 9.8, very important. Rest all are also important, but you cannot skip these chapters at any cost. And very less number of questions are difficult to answer. Rest of the things, they can be answered directly. But to get the maximum score, what did I say? Your approach should include holistic answer, which should consist of socio-cultural and evolutionary perspective in the answer. Right? So in archaeology, mostly it's Indian archaeology only. If you see in paper 1, they asked Indian archaeology. 1 or 2 questions, sometimes there is world archaeology, but mostly Indian archaeology. You go to paper 2, you'll notice world archaeology. So that's, they are swapping the information there. Right? So with this, analysis of paper 1 is done. And paper 2, keep the PDFs papers with you, handouts, and that we'll analyze tomorrow. Okay. So any other doubts in this? You got a fair idea, right? How the questions are being asked, which area is emphasized, and how much extra effort you have to put beyond your basic sources, thinking that only basic sources will be enough. From paper 1 only, you have noticed so many marks overall, if you see on an average, here you have 20 marks from archaeology and around 30 marks from physical anthropology and around 50 to 60, okay, 20, 30, 60, around 110 out of 400 needs your extra efforts to study beyond your basic notes and basic books. That too, you're considering your basic books are good, then only 110 marks you need to go beyond and study. If your basic books are not good, even those things also, it will be around 200 marks completely. You should be studying properly by investing extra time on the resources, right? So don't be in that assumption that whatever you have some books or something that is sufficient and skip the classes. I would sincerely request, I'm trying to make all the efforts possible to give a holistic understanding of the subject. Let's enjoy anthropology as a subject. Let's not try to treat it something which is very mechanical. Once you start understanding anthropology well, you'll fall in love with the subject. Because I don't know why I keep reading anthropology books every day. Sometimes even I feel doubtful that how did I start doing this continuously? Because it tries to give you a new perspective always. See, suppose you have looked at these papers in one way, but why are they setting this paper? We did not think it. Why are these questions being asked? So it tries to give you a new perspective, look from the other angle, so that you will better understand this world. Many times, when I post videos in YouTube with respect to previous year questions, sometimes some dislikes keep coming. With respect to PYQ analysis, dislikes keep coming. And you have pro tools, like you have tools, right? You know that which person is liking or disliking. So you get to know that your competitors are disliking your videos. But I don't envy them for doing that, because I try to understand, okay, so how the market behaves, what is their way of looking at others' work. So that's because of anthropology, I feel. That's what gives me peace of mind, because I don't try to take it so seriously, right? So it tries to give you a new perspective so that you enjoy things. And anthropology is really interesting if you read it as an anthropologist. You read like an anthropologist, you will enjoy it. But if you are reading it as a generic person and you read it very casually, it sounds like you have to remember the facts. Many people, while reading the fossils, in foundation, it can be discussed at length, why and what, or else it should be learnt as facts only. So there, many feel bored, but actually, if you try to understand, question everything, it's interesting. So we'll try to do that, and whatever the things that are being discussed, please try to keep a note of them, because even I don't know which topic will be appearing, because I refer to 3-4 books and various research papers on that particular topic at that particular point of time. I don't read the same notes that I have read in 2024, because now again I would be teaching completely different, because my 22 classes are very much different from 23 and 24 are different from 23. Now 25 is going to be different from 24, because I keep updating myself with things every year. So tomorrow when I come to class preparing a particular thought, anthropological thought, definitely I tend to study what are the latest research papers published on that particular thought, and have they given any new perspective in that thought, so that I'll include in the class and I'll try to tell you, which might not be there in the last year's class. And that is the more probable question to come in the next year, because that's what they tend to look at. If they want to ask something, they'll try to look at what has happened in the recent days in Anthropological Department of India and Anthropological Survey of India, if they want to ask something different from the syllabus. right? So these are the things